Summer's silent pain. When jealousy turns into fury, love can make Summer lose all reason. She secretly plans to kill Claire. She wants Claire to disappear so that Kyle can return to her. But will everything go as she wishes? Love, jealousy, and dark secrets can never exist in a world without complications, and in Genoa City, where the young and the restless always leads the audience through tragic and tense situations, Summer Newman is one of the characters full of internal struggles. When she witnesses the blossoming feelings of Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman, a guilty jealousy begins to rise, leading to actions that can change her life forever. Uncontrollable jealousy. Summer never thought that a simple situation like this could invade her mind and heart so much. Despite knowing that Kyle had a complicated past with Claire, Summer couldn't help but feel an uncontrollable rage when she saw them close. Claire, who she once saw as a threat to her family and relationship, was now being seen as a saint. This made Summer feel like everyone had forgotten the dark secrets of Claire's past, things that could destroy the world she and Kyle had built. Every time Summer saw Claire with Kyle and Harrison Abbott, her anger rose up strongly. The feeling of helplessness and grievance made Summer feel as if she was losing the person she loved the most, just because of an unexpected event from the past that she couldn't control. But the biggest problem was that she couldn't understand why people chose to ignore Claire's mistakes, pretending they didn't exist. Relationship with Chance Chancellor, Summer's close friend, seemed to notice the change in her mood. He is the first to notice that something is off with Summer as she interacts with Kyle and Claire. With the sharp eye of an investigator, Chance does not hesitate to push Summer to confront her true feelings. Initially, Summer denies any suspicions, but Chance continues to push her to the limit. Eventually, the truth comes out when Summer admits that she cannot stand Claire's presence in Kyle's life. This causes Chance to think again. As someone who always pursues truth and justice, Chance begins to feel that Summer may be hiding something bigger than just jealousy. Could Summer go so far as to want Claire out of her life? This question seems to be more than just a temporary speculation, but could be a turning point for a big wave in the future. And, with a potential threat from the past, can Summer control her actions before they go too far? Claire and Kyle's anxiety. Meanwhile, Kyle and Claire are dealing with their own worries. Claire, despite her growing feelings for Kyle, can't help but suspect the secrets surrounding his past work. Is Kyle hiding something important related to his work at Jack Abbott Enterprises? And does this relationship have any connection to Victor Newman, a man whose every turn could lead to all-out war? Kyle, being cautious by nature, tries to change the conversation when Claire starts asking about his relationship with Victor. He doesn't want to complicate things and decides to bring up a corporate espionage story instead. Kyle doesn't want Claire to fall into a negative mindset, but his caution only makes Claire more anxious. She can't help but feel that something fishy is going on, but with Kyle, she can only trust him, even if the secrets are not revealed. Walking into their conversation with Summer, Kyle and Claire can't help but feel the tension in the air. Summer, with her eyes full of undisguised annoyance, confronts them both with the harsh reality that things are changing. But instead of running away, Kyle and Claire decide to confront Summer and her complicated feelings, in order to preserve their growing relationship. Secrets coming out while Summer and Chance's conversations are taking place, and Claire and Kyle's relationship is at a crossroads. Darker events are about to unfold. Chance, as an investigator, will begin to get close to important clues related to the payment in Paris. This could open up an underground world of secrets and intrigue that Summer never expected. Can Summer control her anger before it leads to irreversible actions? As Summer and Chance's conversations unfold, and Claire and Kyle's relationship reaches a crossroads, darker events begin to unfold. Chance, as an investigator, begins to uncover important clues about the Paris payment. This could open up an underground world of secrets and intrigue that Summer never imagined. Can Summer control her anger before it leads to irreversible action? As the truth begins to emerge, dark forces from the past will resurface, and each character in this story will face a crucial decision. Continue to live in the shadow of secrets or step into the light and face the consequences of their actions? Does Summer really feel like she's gone too far? As Summer's anger rises, will she let jealousy cause her to lose everything, or will she learn to control her emotions to keep her relationship with Kyle strong? Can Claire avoid the undercurrents that Summer is creating, and can she understand why Summer is reacting the way she is? With Chance's support, and clues gradually revealed, Summer will face a fierce internal struggle. She may have to make a choice that she herself dares not face, hold on to love or throw it all away because of jealousy. Where relationships and secrets intertwine to form a complex web, every action can lead to an unpredictable chain of events. Summer Newman, who has always been haunted by jealousy and the relationships around her, faces a more severe challenge than ever. But when family relationships and old secrets are gradually revealed, she will be faced with a big decision. Can she control her anger, or will it lead to consequences she cannot undo? Summer's anger and Chance's intervention. Summer Newman has never been one to control her emotions easily, especially when it comes to the people she loves. Especially when she sees Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman close together, Summer cannot control her jealousy, and her anger begins to escalate. However, Chance Chancellor, Summer's close friend, notices changes in her attitude and actions. He can't help but worry about Summer's anger, especially when it can lead to consequences she doesn't yet realize. Chance, as an investigator, knows that anger can cause people to lose control and sometimes lead to bad decisions. He begins to give gentle but firm warnings that if Summer doesn't control her anger, she could do worse than she thinks. However, Summer, still angry, can't see clearly what awaits her. While Summer struggles with her emotions, Chance is focused on an important investigation. Phyllis Summers and Sharon Newman, two strong and determined women, join in the search for the truth about who is behind the kidnapping and the dark plot behind it. Chance, though always firm, feels burdened by the important news he has found. An important meeting at Sharon's house. One stressful morning, Chance calls Phyllis and Sharon to Sharon's house so they can discuss the progress of the investigation. Phyllis, while preoccupied with thoughts of finding the kidnapper, can't help but be urged by Sharon to take a break. Sharon knows that Phyllis is under a lot of stress and wants her to take a break from work. However, Phyllis insists that she can't abandon her work and her mission to find the mastermind behind the case. When Chance arrives, he brings some important information. However, he still can't provide the name of the person behind the kidnapping. But he does bring a big discovery that they didn't expect. The remote control used to cause the gas explosion was purchased online, and the payment led to a psychiatric clinic in Paris. This adds tension and complexity to the investigation, as it seems to be leading to people with connections to the secret pasts of many of the characters. The Alain Laurent connection and mysterious links. The name Alain Laurent comes up again in the conversation. Phyllis, who already had some suspicions about the character, is quick to point the finger at Ashley, suggesting that she may have something to do with it. Sharon, however, disagrees. She begins to suspect that Ashley is not the only one who could be behind these events. Sharon feels that something is strange about the way things are going, and her suspicions grow when she recalls a recent conversation with Tracy Abbott. Sharon cannot understand why Tracy seems so upset when talking about the kidnapping and the details surrounding it. As Chance leaves, Phyllis and Sharon continue to speculate about Alain Laurent and his connection to Ashley. Nick, while not wanting to get caught up in speculation, couldn't help but notice Chance's nervousness when the name Alain was mentioned. This only reinforced Phyllis's belief that Alan's involvement might be the key to all of this. Nick and Sharon's trip, a crucial decision after Chance left, Phyllis began to rethink whether Sharon and Nick's family trip was a good idea. She wondered if the vacation would help everyone relax and forget about the tensions, or if it was just a way to escape the truth that was slowly being revealed. However, Phyllis felt that this trip could be an opportunity for everyone to find answers to unanswered questions. The investigation continues, and the relationships between the characters become more and more complicated. Summer, despite her anger, must face the truth about the conspiracies lurking in the shadows. And Chance, despite having important information, cannot foresee the complexity of the relationship between Alain Laurent and the people he trusts. With each new clue, the story becomes more and more fascinating. Can Summer overcome her anger and find love and peace, or will she be drawn into a conspiracy with no way out? And will the secrets about Alain Laurent and those around her soon be solved? or will everything continue to be unanswered questions in a dangerous game that everyone is playing? Genoa City proves once again that in this world full of intrigue and secrets, no one can truly be at peace, and every step can lead to a dark underworld. Victor's scheme. When Audra is invited to play a part in the bloody war in the world of the young and the restless, where power, love, and betrayal swirl like unpredictable storms, a deal could change everything. Victor Newman, head of Newman Enterprises and a man who seeks to control everything around him, has found a way to not only achieve his goals but also deeply impact those around him, especially Audra Charles. A tense confrontation will ensue, where intrigue and personal gain will intertwine in a calculated game of chess. Victor seeks Audra's support. A smart and calculating man, Victor Newman never lets an opportunity pass without taking full advantage. In a meeting filled with hidden meanings, Victor makes a shocking offer to Audra Charles, an ambitious and intelligent woman. Accordingly, if Audra helps him take down Kyle Abbott, whom she once considered a lover but a traitor in her eyes, Victor will help Audra get her dream job at Newman Enterprises, where she will have control of an important department. At first, Victor appears as a companion who can help Audra achieve what she desires, but he knows how to stir up passion and revenge in her. Victor's proposal is not a clear and pure deal. He does not ask Audra to directly make Kyle fail, but instead suggests that she help Kyle see who he really is, exposing his weak and deceitful nature. Although Audra is not interested at first, Victor continues to be patient, pretending to be playful while making her feel the need to act. Audra faces an important decision. Audra, although intelligent and able to control her emotions well, cannot help but feel tempted by this invitation. She recalls her painful relationship with Kyle, who she once trusted but betrayed her by choosing Claire Newman over her. The memories of this betrayal make it impossible for her to ignore the opportunity Victor presents. However, Audra is not one to be easily persuaded. At first, she intends to walk away, not wanting to participate in such a vile power play. But when Victor repeatedly insists that he is not serious and only wants her to help Kyle realize that he is not a trustworthy person, Audra begins to reconsider. Audra has always been a visionary and knows how to use relationships to her advantage. She sees the potential of gaining access to Newman Enterprises and what it can bring to her career. Having a major division under her control could be a huge step forward for Audra's career. However, she also understands that in order to achieve it, she will have to sacrifice a large part of her morals and beliefs. Victor's invitation is truly an irresistible temptation, and Audra, though still hesitant, eventually decides to consider his offer. Nate appears and tensions rise when Audra decides to return and continue the discussion with Victor. The inevitable happens. Nate Hastings, her close friend and an indispensable figure in the Newman family, suddenly appears. With a suspicious look, Nate has a tense confrontation with Victor. Nate has long been the one in the middle of the Newman family's conflicts, especially when the troubles involving Damien Kane become more serious. Nate cannot help but worry about the scheming and manipulation that Victor is secretly carrying out, and Audra being dragged into it makes him even more worried. Nate cannot understand why Audra is so easily drawn into this power play, especially when she knows the risks involved. He kept urging her to reconsider what she was doing. Nate was well aware that helping Victor overthrow Kyle and plunge things into a political war within the Newman family could have dire consequences, not just for Audra but for everyone involved. Victor, always calm and confident, was unaffected by the tension of this confrontation. He even used sharp words to defend his point of view, asserting that every decision he made was for the good of his family. But for Nate, things weren't that simple. Victor's relationships with his loved ones were complicated, and Nate didn't want to be a pawn in the dangerous game Victor was plotting. Audra faces her decision with Victor gone. Audra and Nate are left with their own doubts. Audra begins to feel the pressure of facing her decision. Can she go through with this plan, dragging Kyle into a dangerous game that could not only ruin his career but also affect her own? Audra begins to realize that this decision could change not only her life, but also her relationships with those around her. She can't help but feel guilty about what she's about to do, but the ultimate goal, gaining the power and position she's always wanted, seems too appealing. Nate, meanwhile, is increasingly worried about what's coming. He can't let Audra fall into the hands of these dark schemes, but he also knows that she's a hard person to convince. Can Nate help Audra realize that sometimes, truth and honesty are not worth the trade-offs, or will he be the one to see her enter a world of intrigue and betrayal? The power battle in the end, what happens will determine the fate of not only Audra and Kyle, but also the Newman family. Victor's appearance and his shady plans will lead to a tense power struggle in the next episode of The Young and the Restless. Audra will face temptation and difficult moral decisions, while Nate will have to make his choice. Is he willing to stand up to Victor and defend what is right, or will he be drawn into the game Victor is playing? The story of Audra, Kyle, and the intrigue surrounding them is just beginning, and in this world, nothing is certain. Any decision could change their lives forever. Please subscribe to our channel to update the latest news.